you were sleeping last night, a silent bomb went off in the American economy. On March 20th, 2026, the United States officially crossed $39 trillion in debt. To put that in perspective, it took 200 years to reach the first trillion. Now we are adding $1 trillion every few months. This isn't just a big number on a screen. This is a mathematical death spiral. Last week, the Federal Reserve admitted what we've all been feeling. They held interest rates steady at 3.75%, effectively telling the American public, we can't stop the inflation and we can't save the economy. They are calling it uncertainty. We call it stagflation. The dollar in your pocket just lost its shield, and the world is starting to notice. For decades, the dollar was backed by one thing, the petrodollar, a secret pact that forced every nation on Earth to buy oil in greenbacks. But as of March 2026, that pact is in shreds. With the conflict in Iran escalating, energy strikes have disabled critical LNG capacity. Oil has spiked to multi-year highs. But here's the kicker. Countries are no longer rushing to the dollar to pay for it. Just weeks ago, the RBI and the BRICS nations moved to link their national digital currencies. They are building a digital rail that bypasses the US banking system entirely. They aren't just diversifying anymore, they are exiting. For the first time in your life, the US dollar is facing a competitor that doesn't sleep, doesn't print, and doesn't care about Washington's sanctions. Look at the gold markets. Last week, gold saw its most turbulent week in 40 years. Why? Because the smart money is panicking. Central banks across Asia and Europe are dumping US treasuries at a record pace and hoarding physical bullion. They know that when a country spends more on debt interest than it does on its own defense budget, which the US officially hit this month, the currency is no longer a safe haven. It's a liability. This is the great devaluation. If you're under 30, you're living through the first time in American history where your currency is dying faster than you can earn it. The systems that kept your parents middle class are being liquidated to pay off a $39 trillion credit card bill that you never signed for. Something terrible is happening to the US dollar. But while the masses react with fear, the prepared will react with data. This is why I have been building the void predictor. While the Fed uses its algorithms to manage the collapse, we are using AI to track the economic black swans, the resource shortages, the currency devaluations, and the supply chain breaks before they hit your doorstep. In 2026, information is the only currency that won't lose its value. The era of trusting the system is over. The era of the void has begun. Subscribe now to join the inner circle and get early access to the Void Predictor rollout. Don't just watch the dollar fall. Position yourself to survive the crash. More on that in later video. On March 18th, 2026, while most of America was checking their brackets or scrolling through social media, a silent explosion rocked the foundation of your bank account. The US Treasury officially confirmed that the national debt has crossed $39 trillion. We aren't just spending money we don't have, we are spending it at a velocity that defies physics. We just added $1 trillion in 5 months. To the average person, these numbers are so large they feel fake. But for the 22-year-old trying to buy a first home, or the retiree watching their grocery bill double, the fake number has very real teeth. Something terrible is happening to the US dollar, and for the first time in 50 years, the Federal Reserve is powerless to stop it. We have entered the stagflation trap. Prices are rising because of war and debt, but the economy is slowing down because no one can afford to borrow. The engine is seizing up, and the check engine light is the dollar itself. To understand why your local grocery store is more expensive, you have to look at the Strait of Hormuz. As of March 2026, the war in Iran isn't just a kinetic conflict, it is a financial decapitation. For half a century, the US dollar was backed by an informal pact with Saudi Arabia. We provide security, they sell oil in dollars. This was the petrodollar. But that pact just died. This month, the BRICS nations, led by India and China, successfully launched the mBridge digital payment system. They are now settling massive oil and gas contracts in rupees and yuan, bypassing the SWIFT system entirely. The world is no longer forced to hold US dollars to keep the lights on. And when the world stops needing dollars, the exorbitant privilege of the American economy vanishes overnight. When those trillions of petrodollars start flooding back to US shores because they aren't needed abroad, they won't bring prosperity. They will bring a tsunami of hyperinflation. The dollar is being sent home, and it's bringing the global fire with it. Here is the part the mainstream media won't tell you. The US government now spends more money on interest payments than it does on its own military. We are effectively a bank that occasionally has an army. In March 2026, the average interest rate on our marketable debt hit 3.35%. That sounds low, until you realize it's applied to $39 trillion. Why do you think gold is hitting record highs every week? Why are central banks from Poland to Singapore dumping US treasuries? It's because the smart money is executing an exit strategy. They aren't investing in gold. They are fleeing the dollar. They are preparing for a world where the US Treasury can no longer find enough buyers for its debt without printing the money to buy it itself. That is the definition of a Ponzi scheme. The elites are moving into hard assets: land, gold, and energy. They are using the buy, borrow, die method to protect their bloodlines, while you are being told to save in a currency that loses 10% of its purchasing power every year. The system isn't broken. It's working exactly as intended for those at the top. While the world watches the grid lines in the sky, a far more precise surgery is being performed on your life savings. We call it the Great Extraction. In March 2026, the US government hit a milestone that should have been front-page news. We are now officially spending more on debt interest than on the entire Department of Defense. Think about that. Every tax dollar you send to Washington isn't going to roads, schools, or even the military. It is being funneled directly to the bondholders, the central banks and billionaires who own our debt. This is why, despite cooling inflation numbers, your life feels more expensive. The government is using inflation as a silent tax to devalue the debt they owe, which simultaneously devalues the labor you provide. They've changed the way they measure the Consumer Price Index, CPI, to hide the rot. In 2026, the basket of goods has been rigged to favor digital services over physical essentials like meat and fuel. By artificially keeping the official inflation rate low, they avoid paying out higher Social Security and pension adjustments. It is a mathematical heist designed to keep the 1% liquid while the middle class is liquidated. Looking at the cracks in the foundation, the $39 trillion debt, the death of the petrodollar, the grid lines in the sky, it leads to one burning question that keeps you up at 2 a.m. If the system is rigged to fail, how do I keep from going down with it? Most people handle a crisis in 3 stages. First, they deny it. Then, they panic. Finally, they look for someone to save them. But in 2026, the saviors, the banks and the government, are the ones who created the debt bomb. They can't save you because they are busy saving themselves. The elites aren't panicking. They are repositioning. They are moving from paper wealth, the dollar, to hard intelligence, resources and data. The burning question isn't, is the crash coming? It's, do you have the data to move before the masses do? I realized that the only difference between a victim and a victor in a collapse is foresight. That's why I built the Void Predictor. This isn't just another ChatGPT wrapper. It is a specialized, agentic AI designed to monitor the fracture points of the global economy in real time. Void doesn't listen to the news, it listens to the math. It processes 3 critical streams. 1. The mBridge ledger. We track real-time cross-border CBDC settlements. When the BRICS nations move a massive amount of oil off the dollar, Void sees the liquidity shift hours before it hits the headlines. 2. Multispectral satellite imagery. We use AI to analyze crop health and soil moisture across the US and UK. We see the digital famine coming before the grocery stores raise their prices. 3. The supply chain nervous system. We monitor IoT sensors in global shipping. If a port in the Middle East slows down by 5%, our predictor calculates the inflationary impact on your local goods instantly. The solution isn't just buying gold or moving to the woods. The solution is asymmetric information. In 2026, if you know a shortage is coming 72 hours before the rest of your city, you aren't a victim, you're an orchestrator. You can protect your family, your capital, and your future. Something terrible is happening to the US dollar, but something incredible is happening to those who are ready to look into the void. I am opening the first 500 spots for the Void Alpha rollout this month. This is for the creators, the investors, and the survivors who refuse to be collateral damage. The burning question has an answer. The answer is data. The answer is void. Subscribe to AI Biz and FinTalk Void right now. Hit the link in the bio to join the waitlist. The system is failing, but you don't have to.